So some things you're going to need to get started. First is your homebrewing starter kit. This cost me about $95. I also got a 5-gallon kettle, which cost me $30, and a beer ingredient kit, which ran me around $39. I chose the American Pale Ale, a bit of an easier beer to make for beginners like me. So for the yeast, I'm actually not using the one that's included in the ingredient kit. I chose this one because it can withstand temperatures up to around 98 degrees. So I picked this one since I don't have a temperature controlled environment or room in my fridge. So this was a better option for me. You are definitely going to need a thermometer. I picked this one up at Target for like $9. You could probably find it cheaper elsewhere. Pretty easy grab. And don't forget your empty set of glass bottles. This particular ingredient kit yields about 50 beers. Everything that you're gonna need: a 6-gallon glass carboy, a 5-gallon bottling bucket with the bottling spigot, your small drilled stopper with the 3-piece airlock when you're fermenting. You're also gonna need your bottle filler, your siphon, and your tubing. This should be all included in the starter kit. Your bottling cleaning brush to clean all the bottles. Your ingredient kit, this one's actually sold separately, but your sanitizer is actually included. Your yeast is not, and neither is the thermometer. That one you can just pick up at any store really. The bottle crimping tool to seal off the bottles is actually included in the kit, and so is this brewing guide. That'll pretty much help you sum up anything you're confused about. And don't forget that 5-gallon stainless steel kettle. So let's take a look at what's inside the American Pale Ale ingredient kit. First, we have the instructions. This will walk us through the process. Our sachet yeast, our grain sack, our bottling caps, 2 cans of liquid malt extract, our 1 ounce of Cascade hops, 2 1-ounce packs of Chinook hops, our 1 pound of Cara red grains, and last but not least, the priming sugar. This is about 5 ounces. First step, and the most important rule, is basically keeping everything sanitized. This keeps all the funky flavors out of your beer when it's fermenting. So use 1 tablespoon to every gallon of water that you're using to sanitize. Mix it really well so the sanitizer really dissolves in the water, and let all your equipment in there just soak and let it sit for about 10-15 minutes. So once you're done sanitizing everything you possibly can, you're going to want to add approximately 2.5 gallons of clean water to your pot, and you're going to want to heat that to about 150 to 165 degrees. For our grains, we're going to add our 1 pound of Cara red malt, and we're going to add that to our sack. Now you can use your thermometer to verify your temperature range. I like to get at the top of the threshold so that way I have a little wiggle room. So now that you hit that temperature, you can go ahead and turn off the stove, add your grains, and let it sit for about 20 minutes.
Twenty minutes later.
One cool trick you can use also is to heat up a little bit of water and rinse it over the sack. This will kind of prevent any form of waste on your grains, so you can collect every ounce of that wort in there. So step 3, you're going to want to bring that wort back to a boil and then add your first can of liquid malt extract and really stir it in really well. Alright, now step 4, you're going to want to add your hops and your second can of liquid malt extract. So first we're going to add the 1 ounce of Cascade Hops, let that boil for about 40 minutes, so you can put a timer on. And then we're going to add our remaining can of liquid malt extract. Mix that in really well, of course, just like the first time. And then let it boil for approximately 10 minutes. So now it's time for our second round of hops. We're going to add 1 ounce of Chinook Hops and let it boil for about 5 minutes. Once that's done boiling, we're going to add our second batch of the 1 ounce Chinook hop pellets. Alright, so now we're halfway with step 5. You're going to want to cool that down to 70 degrees in some ice water. You could probably change that often since it will melt. And then we're going to transfer that over to the glass carboy for fermenting. So all those deposits you see there, that is definitely not anything you want in your beer. You're going to want to leave that as much as you possibly can, even if it means leaving a little bit of beer left over. So for step 6, you're going to want to add water until you reach about 5 gallons approximately. I didn't measure this on my glass carboy, so I had to do everything the old-fashioned way and measure everything out with my pitcher. It's important at this step to take your original gravity reading using your hydrometer and a graduated cylinder, and this is going to help calculate your alcohol content later on. So for the next step, you're going to want to pitch your yeast. Add the airlock on halfway with water and move to a dark and temperature stable area for 4 to 6 days.
4 to 6 days later.
And now it's beer. Now you're going to want to take your final gravity reading, same way we did before, and now we're going to use these two values to calculate our alcohol content. The next step, you're going to need your 5 ounces of priming sugar, and you can go ahead and boil that with 2 cups of water. Mix it in, throw it in your bottling bucket, then siphon your beer onto the bottling bucket and gently mix it together. Second reminder to leave those deposits behind and not siphon those into your beer that you will bottle. It's really important to keep that out. For the last step, it's finally time to bottle our beer using our bottling bucket, our bottle filler, and a little old-fashioned gravity. Go ahead and fill up to the top of the necks of the bottles, and once they're all filled, go ahead and add the bottle caps to each. You're now going to want to store your bottled beer in a cool, dry place like a garage or a dark closet, and let that sit for about 2 weeks.
Oh shit, that's good.
Right?
Yeah, that's good.
It's pale ale.
That's actually really good, dude. I'm
Dope,
fucking
huh?
surprised.
Yeah. First beer.
Yeah. What are you gonna call it?
I don't know.